3, 2, 1, go! Backflip! That's straight up ugly.
Welcome to Remember 64, where this week snowboarding is totally tubular, dudes. Welcome to the show, everyone. My name is David Petrangelo, and I love getting chirped and made fun of for not coming in first place in a racing game, even on easy mode.
And I'm Ouija, and I can't seem to go any faster than 80 kilometers per hour.
I mean, I think that is pretty much close to the max you can go in this game. So, I think you did pretty well. We'll get into what the speed can or can't do in this game, because these are both somewhat vague quips and references to our level 15 game, which is Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding by Midway, or at least published by Midway.
We'll get to that.
And we'll get to that as well. Midway, of course, known for extreme type of sports games like Blitz, like Hits, like every other sports game, but you put a Z or a Z at the end, and that's kind of what you get out of it. So
yeah, you'd think that's what you'd get out of this.
A little taste about how you feel about it, I suppose.
A little bit.
Yeah. So this is a game that we were going to do one game and we switched over to another, and I think it's another one of those ones where you could sort of pick randomly off the list. And unless this was something that your friend had or you happen to have as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or something like that,
Grandma got the wrong game.
Well, clearly you would have gotten the wrong game. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, because 1080 Snowboarding came out the same year, just a few months earlier. And we'll get to that game eventually. Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding, I had never heard of.
Oh,
Never.
God, no.
Which is a
I don't
surprise,
I don't think so.
Yeah, the only reason why I was surprised is because it's Midway and because I love games like the SSX series. I love those games.
I am fairly certain there is a reason that we never heard about this game, and I think we'll get to it. But
All
yeah,
right, we'll get to it. Okay, so before that, I just want to say thank you to our patrons out there. We're going to get a little bit more content about games that I have been playing. I have continued to play Zelda Oracle of Ages. If
I could talk about some great games as well, but
there we go. So we will get into that. You get a little bit more content about that. You'll get episodes early, and all of that for as little as $1 a month. So thank you very much for everyone that is a patron. What I mean, a deal, like really. We've said it in the past, but here in Canada, it's just a loony. It's a loony.
A single loony.
A single loony. It's just all on its lonesome. Why not just toss it in there? Why get a chocolate bar for $2.50 when you can listen to us ramble about more video games for only $1?
It's a no-brainer.
It really is. So patreon.com/remember64show. Okay, so let's get into the games themselves. Let's talk about Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding. Let's bust out the history books, everyone.
I'm learning.
We're going back to November of 1998. But we're also going to toss in some Nintendo power time. Because in November of 1998, at the top of issue 114...
I wonder what
the little piece at the top that looks like the page is being ripped from the corner says the biggest issue ever.
I wonder why.
So believe it or not, Twisted Edge was included in the biggest issue ever, the self-proclaimed biggest issue ever for Nintendo Power.
I'm sure that it had been done before and done since.
113 opportunities to do it before. I'm sure it's happened sometime before this.
So this is November Power. Nintendo November. This probably released in October, even though it said November 10th, I think they came out earlier and had later dates on them. Either way, correct. This is Christmas 98. This is one of the biggest years in video game history. So I'm sure this issue is massive.
So do you have any idea, any guesses as to what is on the cover of November 1998, 114 of Nintendo Power?
I'm sure like it's been Link for the last 5 months. So
It is. It is definitely Link. And all it says. So this is like, Nintendo Power doesn't never really had like a ton of like, it doesn't look like Rolling Stone. It doesn't have a ton of stuff with titles and things all over it. Yeah. So this literally just says The Legend of Zelda on it. And that's it. It's just him, a close up of his face with the sword sort of behind his head. And that, like, there's nothing else on this whatsoever.
You want to come get it.
Yeah. You want this game,
You
this
know
issue.
do.
Yeah. So it is chock full. This issue, the reason why I decided to just look at this issue as our history books section as well is because there's so much stuff in this thing. And it probably is one of the biggest issues they've done because of all the stuff that's in it. So just to give you a sense of the games, we have Ocarina of Time, we have Buck Bumble, Banjo-Kazooie, Body Harvest, Glover, NHL 99, Fighting Force, Wipeout 64, Extreme G2, and of course, the game that we're talking about. And then also everything else that would be, the most important, clearly. The one that everyone got this issue for sure. And then there's also Game Boy games. There's a Game Boy Color section, like all this stuff that is in there that is just full of stuff. So this is it's a whole bunch of like strategy stuff for all these games too. There's even a little section about Superman. Like there is just so much stuff in here.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah, with Superman you might need it. We'll get to that at some point. Yeah,
I don't know. Just keep trying, man.
You got this. I swear, you got this.
Just a page of different Nintendo Power staff members going like, "I believe in you."
So this one, like we did with level 14, if you heard us talk about Carmageddon 64, there's not a whole lot of coverage on this game. And, I think understandably so. It's kind of very quiet. Like we mentioned, 1080 probably took the snowboarding N64 world by storm this same year, several months before, but they do have a review of the game in here. All the games I just mentioned are in here also for review. They're all listed ahead of Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding.
I see. We have reached the Carmageddon section of Nintendo Power.
Yes, there's only
very
one.
Last.
There's technically one game below it called Dual Heroes, which I have
didn't
never
even mention that one earlier.
Yeah, I have never heard of. Also, that is so if that is the bottom of the list, it is a 6.6 rating. And
we need to put Dual Heroes on. That's what we need to be paying attention to. When we play a bad game, see what's below it on the Nintendo Power list, and we'll put that on the bad game list.
We'll put every once in a while we'll sprinkle in those ones. That's a good way to choose. That's a good way
we
to
need a bad game. Where's Dual Heroes?
We've done Carmageddon. Where's Dual Heroes?
We just played Banjo-Kazooie. Find Dual Heroes.
Exactly. Actually, yeah. Considering it's in the same issue, we'll probably find it. Whether we think about it down the line or not, we'll probably find it in this same issue. So, Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding gets an overall rating of 7.2 in the Nintendo Power issue. Not
that's
bad.
Fair.
I think it is. I think that's pretty fair. Very little comments on this. We just have one from Scott. Scott made a comment on that. So Scott says, the inclusion of course extensions and mirror tracks is nice. The ghost option is cool. The physics are inconsistent. No real feel. You just float.
Yeah. Scott's not wrong.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, all the ratings that they have on here, the little like numbers that add up to 7.2 to average out to that overall score, I think they kind of make sense. The highest point of this, and to me, this actually might be the high point. The sound is a 7.8. That's what they give the highest marks across the board to, is the sound.
There's also probably a reason for that as well.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that too. So the Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding, a 7.2, a Nintendo Power issue 114 that is chock full of some of the best games for the console. It was definitely buried under the snow in this issue, and
nice
in the history
packed
of
down.
just pack down, like, you got that snowball and you packed it right down, and somewhere
Yep.
in the center of it was this game. And that's kind of
Eventually the glacier will melt and people will be like, ooh, Twisted Edge snowboarding.
Ooh.
What is this? Oh, it's just
Oh.
1080, but a little worse. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we'll just wait for that podcast that launched in 2022 to talk about it.
This is the glacier melt. Oh God. Yeah, this is the glacier melting period.
Exactly. So, okay, so there's our little go back in history there, but we have a few stats to go through with the game, sir, and that is your specialty. So, let's talk a little bit about the developer, a little bit about the game being made. There's not a ton out there, but there's enough that we can kind of go off. So, I will let you take the floor, good sir.
Well, I think I keep alluding to reasons why certain things may have shaken out certain ways with this game. So I don't know. Some of our listeners may be our age, some of our listeners may be younger, but there was a period in time where snowboarding games were like the thing we all wanted, because snowboarding was all of a sudden cool. And we were getting like X Games and stuff like that with snowboarding in it, like Winter X Games. Ooh, cool.
Yeah, I think that must be what it must be, the X Games things, right? It must be the investment into those events. It has to be. Yeah.
Tapes getting passed around. I don't know if you like knew people that were like, ooh, here's some skate tapes or whatever. Occasionally you'd get some like snowboarding in there.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like a collective conscious thing where like all of a sudden skateboarding, like skateboarding and snowboarding were created around the same time.
They were invented in 1996 with the N64.
Right. For the video game N64 skateboarding. Yeah. And so skateboarding just made it into the collective consciousness way faster than snowboarding did.
Well, I mean, you had Tony Hawk. I mean, like that's a big reason. And around this time too, right?
It's after this though. It's after this.
Well, Tony Hawk himself was sort of around this.
I mean,
but the games are after this. Yeah.
He's big old boy. We would be getting like X Games starting right around this time too, so that would have been more of a thing. But like just California skateboarding culture made it into movies, and like every video game in the 80s and 90s had like a wheeled board somewhere in it,
A wheeled board.
Even if it's just like not even like games like Skate or Die, which was all about kind of like skating culture of, races or half pipes, but then also like illicit races and jousting in swimming pools, like just the grungy side of this little sport, I guess. So yeah, there was a time where like seeing a snowboarding game was all of a sudden like, oh yeah, that seems cool. I bet that's great. Let's play that game.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any on the 64. And so I guess this game came along after this team saw Wave Race basically and was like,
yes,
we should do that, but with snowboarding. So Boss Game Studio. They came from like what? You looked a little into that. They came from Boss.
I looked
Film
into
Studio.
it. Yeah. So they were Boss Film Studio, and it was sort of an offshoot of that. But the reason why there was an offshoot at all, or even considered, I would assume, is because it's the studio that worked on the graphics for movies like Ghostbusters and Die Hard. Like those two movies alone, especially Ghostbusters, is like, oh wow, you guys did that in the 80s, and you made this. Yeah, it's super cool, super well done. Like a movie that had great reception and is still popular. Maybe like 13 years later after it came out. At this point, like, why the heck not? And sure, like that makes sense to me. And I think
it definitely explains how they got a Silicon Graphics workstation.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Because they were, doing CG stuff, special effects work for film and stuff like that. Who are we talking about that did Angel Studios? It's a lot like that. Where
because we were saying that Ken Griffey, because both those games, the animation, the presentation was like it played well, and both those games play well, but the presentation of it just put it over the top. And that's why it was so great. That's what I was personally surprised of. That's level 13. If anyone is listening to these out of order, level 13's it's a great episode. It is also Mr. Luigi's one of his favorite games of all time. So it's a little hard. It's hard to not promote an episode that gives that there's just so much love for on this podcast. So yeah,
I agree.
But you're right. That's actually a very good point. I never thought about it that way. Yeah, that went.
But yeah, it also doesn't. It doesn't hurt that they were based in Redmond, Washington as well. So, they could work with Nintendo and Microsoft on, any sort of video game projects.
Yeah.
But,
that helps.
Yeah, they eventually made like a spider game and then got into a racing game with the Top Gear series, which is a Kemco IP. Kemco's real weird. I think it's real weird how they're the kind of Japanese publisher who is okay with going and finding a Western studio to produce a game for every market, but Japan included. Whereas a lot of other companies were making their own games in Japan and then establishing companies in the West to distribute those games. And Kemco's like, no, we want to bring stuff back.
Yeah.
Not just games you've already made, like make a new game and we'll buy it.
Right.
And they're kind of weird in that regard, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not sure like where in the process the Top Gear IP got put onto their rally game, but they were already making like a N64 rally game, which I hear is well received, was thought of in a positive light.
Yes.
As an early N64 racing game.
Yeah, I've seen decent, I guess you could call them reviews, where they'd be like, oh, it's a 7.9 or it's an 8.3 or whatever. Sure. Yeah. Great. Right. I mean, that's the other thing about looking through the catalog already. When you look at the catalog, there's a lot of racing games. There's a lot of sports games. There's this is the time for a lot of that, I think. And it made it possible, but man, there are a lot. And I think with a game like this, as an example, you really need to stand out in order to be the one that people remember, which is sort of what we're trying to do in a way, but two, stand out at the time too, because there's so much of it. This is only one console and there's so many of them. I can't imagine what it was like. Like I don't really remember because I wasn't looking at the charts. I wasn't really analyzing what the PlayStation had, but just it's everywhere.
It's that era. It's the era where, sports games got easier and easier to make.
Right.
Like sim sports games got easier and easier to make as technology advanced. Whereas you were playing with X's and O's in the late 70s and early 80s or small teams of football players, not a full 11-11 squad or something like that.
Or even, 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 NBA, not that that's a problem for NBA Jam, like that's the point, but like as an example,
way better actually.
Yeah, it's actually far better. Yeah, right. Which we'll get to.
On-side basketball games just aren't fun. I'm sorry. They just aren't. But speaking of, is like Nintendo did not have a snowboarding game, and so like all of a sudden people realized it. I think when Cool Borders 2 came out on PlayStation, they're like, oh, they've already made a sequel to that. We should probably put one of those on ours.
We got to catch up.
But yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, hey, David.
Yes?
Hey, have you ever played Wave Race?
I have played Wave Race.
Yeah, so did Boss Game Studio, because they were like, let's just make that a snowboarding game. So that's basically where we are. We get to this rally game, car games being made. They're using some of their tools to help make their snowboarding game, which is being ripped off of Wave Race entirely.
Yeah. There's shared I mean, I opened up Wave Race on my RetroPie probably as of this recording roughly a month ago or something, and played through like the first set of whatever it is, 4 or 5 races, whatever the sort of novice difficulty type thing is. Yeah. And even though that was like 40 minutes of gameplay, and I played this game for at least a few hours, if not more. Play Wave Race instead. Play Wave Race instead.
So yeah, I actually played this game for a while, And then as I was going to bed, I was like, oh yeah, didn't they say on the direct there's new 64 stuff? I'm gonna go check. Oh hey,
Right.
it's Wave Race. I'll play
Yes.
some Wave Race. I'm not a huge Wave Race fan. It just never like opened up. There was never
That's true.
more game, I guess. And what there wasn't too much to hold me, but I played a lot of the first one because it
Mhm.
was an early 64 game and it was lying around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, wow. After spending all evening playing Twisted Edge and then just kind of serendipity, like opening up the Switch service and playing like 15 minutes of Wave Race, it's like, holy crap. So yeah, looking into it, they were totally like, I afterward I was like, there's got to be something here. These
Yeah.
games are so similar. And yeah, sure enough, they were just like, that game's cool. Let's do that with snowboards. We can get it out holiday 97 and hit the market running.
Right. Which, okay, I get it. You know, business wise and development wise, I get that. You know, it's art inspiring art, so to speak. You know, like
Yeah,
they're like, this is great, like you just said.
that's totally fine.
Let's
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. It's happened before. You know, we'll do it again. It's fine.
I mean, but like it was the level to which they were doing this was absolutely blatant. Like they're just in interviews. I looked up, I'm not a comic book person, but I had to find a comic book reader to look up some old magazines today. And yeah, so that I'm into that business now. And there was just what was it? Holiday, I think December 97, them just being like, we're working on this game. It's getting delayed, but oh boy, you want to see how much we love Wave Race here. Like we're doing it with, the weighted characters. We're
Right.
trying to keep it serious, sim like. We don't want any like dinosaurs shooting out of sewers, which is almost an exact quote. I'm talking about things that Nintendo publicly said after the release of Wave Race that they wanted to have in Wave Race. They did some like
Oh.
post marketing research on why Wave Race didn't sell that well, and
Oh.
people in Japan said, "Well, it didn't have a storyline, so it was nothing to grab me." Which, like what I was saying earlier, maybe that would have kept me in if it opened up a bit more like that.
Sure. Yeah. That'd be the definition of opening up something that is simply just, 1, 2, 3, go and
Yeah,
go around
race.
in a track for
Maybe
race.
you'll
And that's
unlock
it.
a dolphin.
Sure. Yeah. I
Probably
mean,
not.
sure.
I
Yeah,
try.
maybe a crossover with Echo. Like, I don't know. Maybe something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, Kemco sees this report and they're like, put a storyline thing in that. And the devs are like kind of laughing about it. Like, it's going to be cute and corny, and we're going to hide it in the US release. But they really wanted a story mode, so we're putting a story mode in it. Like, yeah, they're just trying to make Wave Race on snow.
Yeah. Like what's with the, also like, if that's a thing, and I don't know, we're not developers. We just play ones on TV, but to fit a story mode onto the cartridge, but then just hide it as like an Easter egg in the US version. Like, I just do not understand that at all. I
think
don't
they
get
just
that approach.
they did not think we would care. And like, why? Well, then why not put it on there? Just put it on there.
What's the big deal? Like, is that going to make your game sell less? Are people going to enjoy your game more because it's hidden? I mean, you can hide some stuff. Fine. Do a credits thing. Do a mode that opens up. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Add all the
incentive.
cheats you want.
Exactly. Do all that kind of stuff. No problem, right? But like, to hide something that would
Put the
normally
damn story
be,
mode in the menu.
yeah, like, so what? Even if it's really small and short, at least you got something out of it. Like,
Right.
such a weird idea. I don't get it. I mean, maybe that's more like a modern sensibility of it, but even at the time, I mean, we'll get the games, but there's other ones in the N64 library that have story modes that you don't really need or care about, but at least it's there. Someone is going to want to play it.
Carmageddon managed to
Carmageddon.
a silent frame of story on there every now and then.
If they could do it.
it was the most compelling part of the game. Like, I was like, hold on, I need to read this garbage.
If you're listening to this and haven't heard it, it's level 14. Level 14, Carmageddon.
Send me the full script for that too, because I want to read the rest of it. So now let's get to the part where things go wrong. We were talking about it earlier. Nintendo Power gave this a fair review because it's a fair ripoff of a fair wave race game. Mm-hmm. But what we're not talking about is 1080 snowboarding, which, if they had been able to finish this game, which it wasn't ready to go by holiday 97, they would have been like the first major snowboarding game on the system, and it would have meant something for a few months.
I think especially for games that are, like we mentioned, a 7.2 or a 6.5, that's sort of like middling review reception type of game. I think being first is actually meaningful. Like it actually does. I think, yeah, it sets the tone. And like you're saying, leading up to this, like there hasn't been one yet. You have people that want games like this for obvious reasons.
This game. I wanted a game like this.
Sure. I mean, we didn't know it existed, but we wanted it.
I remember playing, Nagano 98, being like,
yes. I forgot about that game. Yes, I bought that too.
Like,
or I at least rented it. Yeah.
Like, maybe there's some snowboarding in here, man. We gotta, we gotta play. We gotta do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we were hungry for a game like this, and if it had come out holiday 97, oh boy, like everyone would have had this game.
I think
or
so.
would have rented it and been like, but at least this game would have gotten played.
Yes, and that's sucks. I mean, like, people work on games. Again, I've said this in the past. It's like, it's unfortunate. People bust their butt to get products out there for the most part. It's not always your passion project, but people are working. It's their job. They like what they do, and they want to get something out there that people enjoy. And then it came out a year after they said they was going to.
Yeah, and because of the delay, it means that 1080 comes out end of February, March of 98. The game that they were copying, a game made by, like, I don't know how, like, it's so tragic that they were trying to copy a game, and the team that they were trying to copy made a snowboarding game before they could get theirs out. Like, the thing they were trying to copy actually came real, but someone else made it. I don't know.
Really should have and could have made it. And we haven't talked about it on this show, like, in any length at this point as of the recording of level 15, but 1080 snowboarding is obviously going to be on our list. It is one that is well regarded. I haven't played it in decades at this point. It's been so
played
long.
It since March of 98.
Exactly. Right. So it'll be very interesting to sort of compare notes between the two, but largely while we're looking up research for this episode and sort of trying to like get an idea of what this game is before we press start on it 1080 is clearly, it's all over the place that 1080 basically stole their thunder, which is basically what we're saying.
Yeah. I said to you, I was like, all right, why don't we pick this game? It says Midway on it. Midway did not like have anything to do with this really. So it's either going to be a bland 1080 ripoff, or it's going to be a crazy go nuts bonkers Midway snowboarding game. That's still bland. This was bland 1080 snowboarding ripoff. But that's what's so hilarious about it, is that they weren't ripping off 1080 snowboarding. They were ripping off the game that 1080 snowboarding people made before it. So yeah. Let's break down Twisted Edge.
Hit the slopes and melt the snow over huge jumps with amazing super stunts and incredible hang time. Race down the mountain against 3 CPU-controlled opponents in the competition game mode. Or take on a friend with head-to-head 2-player split-screen action. Twisted Edge Extreme Snow.
I don't know. It's not fast. It's not. It's not.
No,
quick.
it wants to be fast, and it feels like it wants to push you to be fast, and it just stops you, whether it's on purpose or not. It stops you with obstacles, or it stops you with different types of snow or whatever. So like, like it wants to be a fast, cool, rad racing, snowboarding, wild game in a way. But that's what the presentation is. But it doesn't play that way.
It wants to be a very realistic snowboarding game. So there's no like speed up button. There's no frill.
No, there's no boost or nothing. Yeah, right.
There's no like I don't know. There were like icy hard surfaces in 1080 as well that you go over. And this
there is
in
every snowboarding game at this point, right? Like that's just like a common thing now.
You can't catch your.
You can't turn the same. Woo,
woo. Oh no!
I wish people could see us both doing jazz hands, basically at the same time.
We're doing the Team America thing, like the signal from the back of the truck, like we're just shaking our hands. Yeah, it's like in this one though. It's so hard to turn on the ice, but also like your speed just stops. Yeah. And in a game where you can't really like speed up in any way other than to just go. Yeah, that's rough.
Go. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is that when you, like you mentioned like a boost or something like that, like when you mentioned like, oh, this could be a wacky, crazy midway type experience, like we know from other games that they've been involved with. This is before we looked into the game itself. We just basically picked it and went with it.
They came along at the end to publish it. It's the game says distributed by Midway, and I was like, that's not good when I saw that.
Damn it.
They are listed as a publisher these days in databases or on Wikipedia or whatever, but on the game, in the menu, when it's loading, it says distributed, which means they were just there at the end to take care of rights in different regions. Or something.
Yeah, they own the truck that shipped it to the Blockbuster. That's
hey, like you guys made a cool racing game earlier last year. We'll publish this too.
Sure, we'll be involved in some way whatsoever. Just give us a few bucks every time you sell it.
Right.
But I was sort of I was like, I got excited almost. I'm like, I've never heard of this. Have I never heard of what could essentially be the first SSX game that I never heard of and never played? Because again, I love that series. Specifically, SSX 3 is one of my most played games ever. I adore every single second of that game. I have maxed out every character. I've unlocked every outfit, like everything. I love that game. So I was so excited. And that is definitely not what this is,
No.
And it's not even close. But the music, the announcer.
Double backflip. Nice landing. Crossbone method air. Rocket air. Backflip. That's straight up ugly. 360. Front flip. Crossbone method air. Melancholy.
Let's talk about the music. I need just there is like just there is so much Les Claypool energy going on here. Like it is some cross between Primus or Claypool and Buckethead. Like I do not understand how good and weird the influences are. Like it's not great, it's not perfect or like amazing music, but like holy crap, as a Primus fan, I'm just like, why am I listening to Primus music right now? I guess the guy, when I looked up this game in this studio, the composer was mentioned usually, which I don't know what that means. I guess he has some of a reputation.
He has clout in some way, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with the music here. Yeah, whatever he did, he did some work. He worked hard on it. Like that's fine.
Some work. Put it on the box. They did some work.
It tonally does not fit the level of extreme sports happening here, but it's fine with me.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is they're trying to put off a certain message, an aggression, sort of like totally rad, dude, and that's exactly what the announcer guy is saying, like things like that. And the music is fine, but it's also relentless, and it's also like I feel like I'm going fast, but I'm only going 30 kilometers an hour and I don't understand, why I'm only going 10 miles an hour. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I wish I
doesn't
was shredding
quite-
like Buckethead right now, but I'm
Right?
just stuck
Yeah.
going down this hill. I tried jumping over a NPC, another racer. Like
Yes.
he and this other racer crashed together, and I was like, sweet, I'm gonna pass these dudes. And I went to hop over him, and I cleared this dude because we were going downhill. I cleared him well above his model, hit a brick wall.
No, really? Oh no.
Fell down to the snow, still standing, hit a brick wall, fell down to the snow, collided with him. And it's just like, that's not fair, man. That ain't fair. And the guitar solo kept shredding, and I'm just like, none of this is fair. This is not good.
It's shredding for the guy that is now taken off and is definitely going to finish in first.
Tear Bear's on his way down the mountain, and meanwhile I'm stuck with this guy.
I realized too that like it's just this weird. I got this weird mix because I started just playing the races, and I just wanted to do that. I get a feel for the way things move and how you jump, and you don't necessarily need to pull off tricks to get to the bottom.
No, but
it is sort of a little bit of a speed boost if you do land a trick. You kind of sometimes pick up a little bit of speed. It's only if you're going.
You're just
slower.
trying to land.
Yeah, you're just trying to land that too.
Because this does have that keep your board level and you won't lose any of your speed, but it's all about not losing speed as opposed to getting a boost off of it, or like it feels like a chore.
Yeah, maybe that's all it is that I didn't realize that I was landing a trick properly, and I thought it was a boost, but it's really not.
I don't know. Like anytime that number ticks down in the corner, it's big too. It's a big number. Your speedometer. Anytime it ticks down, it's a failure.
Yeah,
because it doesn't go very high.
And restart.
Yeah.
It's I started doing the races, and I was like, okay, I kind of get the feel for it. Whether I'm good at it or not, it's another story. But then I tried the trick section too, the sort of a trick mode or whatever they call it. And
it's like a big air downhill thing. It's
a big air one. Yeah. So it starts with big air, which is fine because it's sort of the quote unquote easy one where you have a few big jumps and you can kind of spin around and do a couple different grabs. But the problem is how they associate it with time. It's not about the tricks that you land. So it starts you with, like, for example, 45 seconds or 30 seconds on a level like that. And every time you land a trick, the higher the points you get, the more
bonus
money.
Time.
Yeah, you get time. It's like getting a checkpoint almost in a race.
It's like running over some zombies or something.
Where are the zombies on these courses, man? Like
why can't I get
having
more
a hard time? Yeah, I was having a hard time understanding why there were no zombies standing in front of me. It was just really, really strange.
Either that, or like if there's gonna be a timing mechanic, there should be some zombies around here, right?
Is that not what time is about? It's about
that was.
I don't know. I mean,
I thought all video games did that. I don't know. All right, whatever.
What do we know? I mean, we're just getting started on this library, so we're just we're in its infancy. So
anytime there are no zombies, I'm going to be disappointed now.
Or depending on how we talked about level 14, we could be glad depending on how it works.
That's true.
So the problem with it is that
you're right. There really should not be a timing mechanic on the stunt course.
I think the only reason why they do it is that you get like a bonus if you finish with extra time. Now that very first one was okay because it's simple. You just go down, you do some spins, you do a couple grabs, and you get the allotted points that you need to get to move on to the next couple levels. But the problem is then they go and put you, instead of on courses like that that are like specifically meant for tricks, they put you on the regular racing courses. And somehow you're supposed to start doing tricks on just basically what is flat land or in between the jumps, which are too far away for you to not run out of time. And I'm just what?
Yeah.
I don't. And I could not consistently get turns and flips and grabs going enough to be like confident that I could get this done, because it was not easy to pull off some of these tricks. I don't know how you felt about them, but
like stringing them together I kept feeling like I was missing something, especially when like the rotate is its own trick, sort of.
Sort of, yeah. And I can only really get my fingers around like playing, like doing spins and a grab rather than doing like a flip back or forward and like it was just it was a little tricky to maneuver the different types of grabs and things like
Could
yeah.
you find a way? Was there a list of tricks?
I looked up the manual, and that's
Okay,
how I
so they were in the
learned.
manual.
They were in the
Well,
manual.
I definitely tried to look up this manual to find a speed up button, and there was none to be had.
Well, the manual itself was actually, it's funny. It kind of read a little bit like a tips page in Nintendo Power because it was like, it was really strange because it was like, oh, here's your grabs. And it had like this little blurb at the top that said, this is how you do your cool grabs. And then on the next page would be like the spins and the flips. And it goes, now that you know how to do the grabs, why don't you test your skill in doing the spins while you also grab? And it was just sort of this
Why
weird
don't
little.
you tell me what I should do, or just tell me, like, don't suggest it.
Yeah, and it's really weird because I'm used to whether it is a skateboarding game, whether it's an SSX game, any kind of snowboarding
Mhm.
or skateboarding type game, the A button or X, whatever, depending on what controller you're playing on, whatever console you're playing on, is the
Mhm.
jump button, right?
Yes.
That's jump. Your player kind of
And
crouches a little bit and jumps a little bit, and then you pull off your trick. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
important part. The thing that this game doesn't have, and it doesn't know about because it wasn't really invented yet, because Tony
Mhm.
Hawk hasn't come out yet, but we'll get there. We'll get to it. Is that the button immediately jumps. It does not crouch. So there is no
Yes.
crouch speed up and then let go to jump, which I
Yeah, you can crouch by pushing
don't
forward.
remember how 1080 works. So maybe it's in that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Maybe, I don't know how that works, but
Yeah, you're
you
right.
can crouch forward, but it doesn't actually do anything for your speed, which I don't understand. Like that's why I was also confused. So the reason why I brought that up as well is you're not wrong about that. That's a very good point. But when you want to do a spin or a flip, because you're not leading into it like you're saying, you have to actually like press left or right and A at the same time, sort of like a fighting combo almost, in order to do the spin or the flip. And then also at the same time, or at least very soon after, switch your thumb over to one of the C buttons or the B button and do a grab with a direction. And it all felt just too convoluted for a 2 second or second and a half that you were in the air. And I couldn't consistently get it going, like you said.
That I had the same trouble with 1080 when I first played it. Was those have like multiple button inputs to do crazy stuff, and yeah, this stuff didn't get standardized until later when Tony Hawk finally came out and kind of had rules around how this is how you should be doing these things. That's another thing I want to point out real quick, which leads to that, is the 2-player mode in this has the vertical split screen, whereas 1080 would have a horizontal split screen, which made sense because that's how 2-player games had like kind of always worked. You split it up panoramic style.
Always. Yeah.
In the sports games, it doesn't work, as we come to find out in Tony Hawk, where it had the vertical split screen. This does that too. It just looks a lot better. So there's a point in my favor.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember the SSX games had that too. And that was one of the first times I remember being like, oh yeah, this really works. But it probably was actually at that time. I definitely played more Tony Hawk than I did 1080, but probably Tony Hawk, where I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is strange. So this has it too. You're right.
Tony Hawk obliterated these games. Anything that was, trying to do extreme sports in any sense. Once that hit the scene, it set a standard for a while. And games like SSX kind of like, oh yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, cool. We'll make this crazy snowboarding game and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I did take a small detour in snowboarding games with this, and I jumped off of this console really quickly. And because I keep mentioning the SSX series, I was just so obsessed with
it's so much better.
Tricky and I mean, it is better, but again, it's years later, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh, how could you not make that game? It's obvious.
I mean, SSX came out within 2 years of this game. the first one.
Yeah,
So
it was PS2 and original Xbox, and like I had them all for 360. Like that's where I spent most of my time with that series and stuff. So
Yeah.
I took a small detour because at the time me and my brother loved these games so much that we even had Tricky for the Game Boy Advance, and playing these types of games on Advance and on Game Boy is never the same. It's not. They have to do it 2D. They have to. It doesn't quite feel that great. Now Tricky was on the Advance, and it's the same thing. Weird jumps and crazy moves and boosts, and what you would expect from that. But it's not a left to right side scrolling type thing. It is behind the snowboarder, and there's really only so much they can do graphically to make it
right.
Feel fast and everything. It does not control great. It is not a great game or anything, but you still feel like you're doing cool snowboard stuff more in that game than I did in Twisted Edge. And I was like, oh no.
I believe it though, because Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for GBA is a solid GBA port of that kind of game. So I believe it, because I played that a lot. So but yeah, like really these kind of games, like they had a real short moment on the N64 of in the late 90s of everybody wanted to be a part of this, and then Tony Hawk killed everything. So
Yep.
yeah,
Tony Hawk came in and murdered the N64's hopes of
it's funny. It's kind of, it's like I don't know, like being there in the moment was just like, these don't matter anymore. The first time you play Tony Hawk, you're just like, I'm sorry, 1080. Why would I ever go anywhere near you again?
Yeah, if skateboarding, snowboarding, X Games was anywhere close to being on your radar, they just took over. Especially the first two took over for a solid 4 years, I would say.
That's all anybody cared about.
That's all we played. That is all we played. It was so, I mean, along with other stuff too, but if you were playing a sports game with someone, if you weren't even solo, but really, especially if you're playing with someone, Tony Hawk is what you played.
You were playing Tony Hawk.
Yeah. It wasn't 1080. And even honestly, it wasn't even SSX. It was Tony Hawk. Right?
Not till SSX 3, I want to say, did I even play an SSX game.
Yeah.
So
right.
It didn't it took a while for that to build up, but 1080 could have been a genre defining moment, but it's okay. It's okay. It's
I don't know. I just remember playing it split screen and being like, okay, this is cool. Fine. This is fun. But it was never something that stuck with me long term.
It wasn't easy. You couldn't just pick it up and kill it. Whereas I think that's Tony Hawk, you can pick that game up and look like a god within 2 minutes. So
and get just a couple of points higher than your buddy, and you go woo, and then you win the day.
This is all I want to do for the rest of my life. Yeah.
And we almost did. Honestly, at that point, it felt like we did. Yeah. So Tony Hawk. I mean, Twisted Edge. See, extreme snowboarding.
That's kind of I think this is a good game. This is a good first snowboarding game for us to talk about, because there's not a whole lot to cover without covering the snowboarding fad. So it's a good first snowboarding game, and we can get into the other ones down the road.
Yeah. I think this is a good late 90s cultural education for anybody that did not experience it at the time or doesn't remember all of it as well. So I think that's kind of what we ended up doing here.
Nagano,
which is fine. Nagano.
They didn't even have snowboarding in the Nagano Olympics. I think they stuck the snowboarding mode in there, but I don't remember.
It's so strange. We'll get to those two, but so we'll talk about more games. Find some more small, shorter episodes on Patreon as well. We'll talk about games that we're playing outside of the N64. Most recently I played a game called Circus Electrique, which has, if anyone has heard of Darkest Dungeon, very similar to that, but with much less depressing personality, I would say. So it is a very similar system, but it is also very, Yeah, it's just more. It's got more like cheery personality, I would say, but also still very difficult and about managing your team and all this kind of stuff. But very good game. It's a game that's out now. It's a new game, a 2022 game. So something to check out there. And I talk about it in that episode as well. Patreon.com/Remember64 show. We will also eventually be talking more Zelda Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I am working my way through those games. We have an episode on that as well that we recorded in the summer, and we'll touch back when I'm at the end or close to the end as well, where two of us can talk about it. And we got a whole lot of Zelda stuff to talk about because in the fall of 2022 we got some Zelda news that we'll be getting to, so that's kind of fun too. You got lots of Zelda stuff to talk about, right? Outside of our Patreon, where can people hear you talk about some Zelda?
Hey, I do a show called Chat of the Wild where we talk about Zelda games, breaking them down by game in order, one dungeon at a time per episode. We just started Skyward Sword. I mean, I've been playing it for like a month, but the episodes are starting to come out now. So
yeah.
So we're gonna be working on that for a few months. We're thinking that with the announcement of Tears or Tears of the Kingdom, could be either. Shout outs to my friend Tegan for pointing that out and blowing all of our minds. But that's set to come out in May next year. So we're hoping maybe we can get. Yeah. So we're hoping maybe we can get through the Skyward Sword, a Zelda-like, and maybe squeeze in Link Between Worlds.
Ooh,
and then
that's one of my favorites.
Just finish it all right there. And then start it all over again, probably. Who knows? But yeah, that's Chat of the Wild. Lots and lots and lots. 28 seasons of video games. Hooray! Oh yeah, and Need for Speedrunning, my show about speedruns with Hobbs from GDQ and Bradley from Hair of the Dogcast. We talk about speed games. If you like speedrunning or just like video games, speedrunning is really cool. Come check it out. Need for Speedrunning.
Very interesting world of video games. If you're listening to this and you're like, you only really played the N64 or you only really played games when you were younger, and so it's just such a crazy, cool, interesting part of the video game culture now that it's awesome. It's so cool.
The state of N64 speedruns is buck wild.
Is it really?
Ooh. Oh my god, they are basically writing code in the middle of the game.
That's amazing.
It's called arbitrary code execution. They can basically, using 360 degrees, they can basically just write code in the game by pointing in certain directions if they've figured it out, and do things like play 8 minutes of Paper Mario or play 8 minutes of Ocarina of Time, pull the cart out of the 64, pop Paper Mario in, play that for a few minutes, and roll credits.
What?
Yeah. So if you've ever wanted to know like what makes your favorite game tick, like on a code level, find the speedrun community because they'll tell you exactly how that thing works. It's great.
That's amazing. That's so crazy. That's wild.
Hey David, you do shows.
That's my name.
What are your shows?
Yeah, I said doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
My first show that I ever did was back in my day and continues to go for over 4 years now. We talk everything from the stuff we grew up with from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We're not that old, but it's the stuff we grew up with. So a lot of TV and movies, video games sprinkled in there once in a while. Watched a lot of Bond, exactly. And, N64 actually has a really big part in our show because when we hit episode 100, we decided to break down our favorite movies and video games of the 90s. And the N64 was heavily featured in that. And a certain, speaking of Bond, was one of the top games of the 90s for us. I won't say where it was. And then we also had a certain set of dinosaurs that ended up close to the top or potentially at the top of our movie list as well. So that was something that we did back, over a year now, because now we're in 140-ish for our episodes. But yeah, we also talk a lot about the new stuff. We're talking about a lot of the Marvel and Star Wars stuff that's up now, because that definitely is connected to our childhood and growing up. And the guys that I do the show with are just love their comics, love their Marvel. It's hard to ignore, and there's just so much of it out there for us to talk about. So we do that. I also have the Creature Cast, which is the official podcast for consolecreatures.com. And that's where we talk all video games all the time. And it's pretty much only, at least at this point, very much based around newer stuff, newer topics. Okay. Talk about games that we're playing. We also did do a few episodes of games that we grew up with that really influenced us as gamers. I have a couple of N64 titles in there. One of them could be a wrestling title. I will tease ahead to that being one of my favorite games of all time. And Banjo-Kazooie is definitely on that list as well.
Most likely.
Say that. So yeah, most likely. Yeah. So that's consolecreatures.com and CreatureCast and back in my day. And of course here at Remember 64.
Of course.
That's me. That's me online, man.
Hi.
Hi, it's us. It's us on a podcast. How are you? Okay, so as always, you can email us, remember64show@gmail.com. You can also find us at remember64show. TikTok, where the cool kids used to sit at lunch. We sit there after on our spare. Instagram, Twitter.
Mopping's hard on your knees.
Twitch.
You got to sit down sometimes.
You have to, exactly. And if you are listening to this in the fall period of 2022, I'm going to jump on Twitch a little bit more and start playing some slightly more scary-ish games, mostly retro ones. I think I'm going to hit up the Doom games. Doom 64 will likely be one of them. And I realized that on Game Pass, Alice Returns, I think it's called, a game from the early to mid 2000s. Is out. It's sort of like a action bloody version of Alice in Wonderland. I just remember seeing this game growing up. I never played it, but it seems a little bit spooky, so I might give that a shot too. So that's what I'm going to try and do.
I love that book, or both of those books.
I love that movie, especially the bloody parts. Yeah. So that's twitch.tv/remember64show, and then all those other spots as well on social media. So other than that, man, we are off to level 16 next, and check our social media to see what we will be playing next.
Oh boy,
we have some goodies coming up. We're excited to talk about them. So until next time, stay pixelated, my friends.